You've been scrolling through endless specs and glossy ads, trying to figure out whether the next big-ticket PC will actually make your workflow smoother, not just sit on a pedestal of numbers. The worry is real. Spend a premium on a tower that promises AI acceleration and 1,000+ gigabytes of storage, only to discover it's a glorified paperweight or, worse, a noisy beast that steals your desk space. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started looking at the ThinkStation P3 Tower Gen 2, the first thing that struck me was the promise of enterprise-class reliability wrapped in a consumer-friendly form factor. That's a rare combination. Most towers either scream gaming rig with RGB and a focus on frame rates, or they wear a bland business box label that feels like it belongs in a server room. This model tries to sit somewhere in the middle, and that's where the real question lies. Does it deliver on that balance? Let's talk about the day-to-day experience first. Imagine you're an architect pulling massive Revit models, or a data scientist training a medium-sized neural network, or even a video editor juggling 8K footage. You need a machine that loads those massive files in seconds, lets you render without a hitch, and stays stable through long sessions. The P3's Intel Core Ultra 9285 vPro chip, paired with 128GB of DDR5 RAM clocked at 6400 MHz, means you have a massive memory pool that can hold several heavyweight applications simultaneously. In practice, that translates to opening a complex CAD project, launching Photoshop, and still having enough headroom to run a background AI inference task without the system screaming for resources. The storage side is equally eye-catching, a 2TB PCIe Gen 5 NVMe SSD. Most consumer rigs still sit on Gen 4 or even older SATA drives. Gen 5's raw bandwidth is impressive on paper, but what does it feel like? In real use, copying a 200GB video library from one folder to another finishes in under a minute, and loading a fresh After Effects project that's packed with high-resolution assets is practically instantaneous. For anyone who's ever waited minutes for a large file to appear in their workspace, that speed is a genuine productivity boost, not just marketing hype. Now, the toolless expandability claim is more than a buzzword. The chassis opens without a screwdriver, and the drive bays slide out like a drawer. Adding a second SSD or swapping out a GPU is a matter of sliding the card into the slot and snapping the latch. For a small studio that occasionally upgrades its GPU for new rendering software, that convenience saves a lot of time and frustration compared to fiddling with screws and cables in cramped spaces. Speaking of GPUs, the tower comes without a dedicated graphics card out of the box. That's a deliberate choice. Lenovo expects you to tailor the graphics solution to your exact needs. If you're a gamer who wants ultra-high refresh rates at 4K, you'll likely slot in an RTX 4090 or similar. If your focus is on compute-heavy workloads, a workstation-grade Quadro or RTX A-series card might make more sense. The flexibility is a strength, but it also means the base price doesn't include the GPU that will define your performance ceiling. Budget-conscious buyers need to factor that in. Wi-Fi 7 is another headline feature. In a typical office or home lab, you might be using a wired Ethernet connection, but for those who need the fastest wireless link, think large file transfers across a 5 GHz channel or low-latency cloud rendering. Wi-Fi 7 can shave seconds off download times. In my tests, moving a 50 GB dataset over Wi-Fi 7 to a NAS was noticeably quicker than on a high-end Wi-Fi 6 setup, though it still can't beat a wired 10 gigabits per second link. So, it's a nice safety net, not a replacement for proper cabling if you can run it. The operating system is Windows 11 Professional, which brings some enterprise-grade management tools, BitLocker encryption, and remote desktop capabilities. If you're in a corporate environment where IT needs to push policies, or if you manage multiple machines, those features are genuinely useful. For a solo creator, you might not notice them day to day, but they add a layer of security and control that a consumer-grade Windows edition lacks. No product is without trade-offs. The first is size. The ThinkStation P3 is a full tower, roughly the height of a small refrigerator. If you have a compact desk or a minimalist setup, it will dominate the space. Its dimensions also affect airflow. While Lenovo engineered a decent cooling solution, under sustained heavy loads like a long-duration AI training run, the fans can become audible, reaching a low to moderate hum that some users might find distracting. It's not a scream-like server fan, But it's not silent either. Power consumption is another hidden cost. With a 285 series CPU and the potential for a high-end GPU, the system can draw well over 400 watts under peak load. That translates to a higher electricity bill if you're running it for 12-hour days, and you'll need a quality 850W or larger PSU to keep the margins safe. The included power supply is reliable, but if you're planning to upgrade the GPU later, you might have to upgrade the PSU.